Hey yo, what's up? World here again, and today I'm gonna talk about something a little bit different. I know usually I talk about my drums and my drumming gear and the latest equipment I've bought in that pertains to that. But um, the other day at work, it got me thinking, and I was really bummed out about it. The music coming from the dining room area where the speakers are at is on the ceilings. It was always playing the same old 20 song 50s diner music, oldies, the same 20 songs. And it was a bummer because I kept hearing the same songs, and I didn't think it was a fair deal for elderly people to be listening to the same thing. And I'm a big music head. So I think about the full spectrum of music, not just 50s diners music. That's like me listening to Justin Bieber. I mean, yeah, you know, that's young enough for me to understand, but I'm kind of like old enough to be listening to, 80s music and 90s music as well, because that was my generation. And same thing applies for elderly people. They were old enough to hear the 50s and 60s rock and roll diner music, oldies, I guess you want to call it oldies. But they also, were around with the big band and swing era and the singers and standards. And I thought, man, when I used to put in my Bluetooth speaker, I used to play all that stuff. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Perry Como, big band music like Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, Duke Ellington, Artie Shaw. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about old people music. And so that's what I like as well, and as well as like old country like Nashville Sound and, stuff like the Andrews Sisters. And, there's so much great music out there from the 30s, the 40s, and, I think elderly people deserve a chance to listen to music like that, especially in my department. I work with memory care residents, elderly people with dementia and stuff. It's really sad. But when they hear old music, it cheers them up, and it, brings a smile to their face, and they forget about their condition. So I came up with the idea and thought to myself, what if I can plug in my phone to the back of this stereo and mixer console device thing and play my own music? Because, I'm thinking like a musician. I'm thinking like an audio-visual person, because I know a little bit about that, because I'm in the music thing. And I thought maybe there's just an auxiliary input. So I checked back there because this device is propped up on a little shelf thing, a little thin shelf thing, in the office, the boss's office. And so I looked back there, and I'm like, there's got to be some way where you can plug in your phone and play your own music. And there was no auxiliary input, which would have been, way easier to deal with. But, knowing me, I just, Google. Now that you got technology nowadays, you Google something, and sure enough, there's always an invention, and somebody has invented it, and they're selling it on the market. And I came across this device here. It's there's a specific name for this. If you're in the audio visual world, this might make sense when I read this to you. Doesn't make sense to me. It's a 3.5 millimeter. I'm assuming 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, right? This is a 3.5 millimeter auxiliary male jack, 2 AV, 2 RCA, stereo audio cable. So these are the 2 RCA cables, I'm assuming. It's a stereo audio cable, so it's made for music and listening to sounds. If it was for TV and stuff like that, it would be like a video cable or a HDMI. And so that's it. This is it's over 3 feet. I googled it up on eBay, and it's the perfect length. I think so. And I'm assuming, you know, you plug this in. You take out the other plugs in the back of the mixer that goes to the little radio system. We're not going to deal with the radio system. We're just going to be dealing with the mixer and my phone. And I got some input from friends on Facebook to see if this might work. And they said, yeah, it should work. So when I get back to work on Friday, during the dinner time, which is usually around 4:30, but maybe before 4:30, like around 4 o'clock, I'm going to do my little Mission Impossible. And while the boss is on the computer, you know, working away, facing the other way, I'm going to, you know, take some plugs out, plugs these two in, and then I got my headphone jack to lightning. Plug that in right here. And, you know, I'm going to turn the volumes down in the mixer all the way down so I don't blow anything up. I'm going to turn the volume up on my phone, have that playing already, so nothing out of the ordinary. And, of course, it's going to be on my Pandora radio station that plays oldies, big band, swing, singers and standards, old country, all the spectrum of music from the 30s to the 70s, 60s. Because anything past 1970s music for my parents. And my parents are old. They're in their early 60s. But, you know, we're talking about old people, not, you know, old people. I know that might be ignorant in, you know, what I'm saying, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. We're talking about old people, you know. Elderly people that were born, you know, in the 1910s and to the 1920s. And, you know, that's what I'm going to be doing, you know. We're going to see we're going to see how that works and if it works. If it works, hey, different music finally. Better music, you know, varied music. Because it's just going to be playing all kinds of music, you know, which I like, you know. I think elderly people deserve a variety of music from their time, you know. 60s and 50s rock and roll, 50s, 60s and 50s oldies music is just a small little part of their time in music. And, you know, like I said, music is important to them. It's as important to them as it is to me. I mean, it's important to me because, you know, I'm part of the other side of it. I play music, but I'm also kind of like a music historian, amateur music historian. And, you know, we'll see how this works, you know. We'll see how this works. I'm excited, you know. I don't know how many people are excited to come back to work after a few days off, couple days off. But, you know, if this all works out, great. If it doesn't, you know, I just wasted $7 or $8. It really doesn't matter. So, you know, of course I'm going to put the connections back the way they were, so nothing feels out of the ordinary. But every time I'm at work, I'm going to be using my phone secretly. Nobody will know. Nobody will find out. And, you know, the music will just blend in. So I'll be posting this video on YouTube quite soon. Right now it's 7:30 on a Wednesday night. I'm back to work on Friday in the afternoon. You know, we'll see how it works. You know, I'll post pictures on Instagram. So if you're following me on Instagram, I'll post pictures of the device that's playing music. I guess it's only like a, I don't know. If you work in, maybe if you work in, what do you call that? If you work in like a department store, maybe it's kind of like the same thing, you know, the music that's playing. And there's probably a room in the department store that controls that whole thing. I think that's kind of like the same thing. But now, we're going to see what happens when I put in my music. And, you know, excuse me, I'll let you know how that works out. And if you all have a similar situation like I am having, then, and if it works out, I'll say, yo, give it a thumbs up. So, peace, and we'll see you later.